Hmm. Oh well, it doesn't seem to be playing for some reason. Let me see. Let me double check. Always something. It played just a minute ago. Anyway, welcome everybody. Beautiful day outside. It's like 80 degrees at this point. Not too bad. System is not even on. The house is so cool right now and maintaining that level. So I'm really happy for that. Hang on one second. Let me check something. I did a little bit of moving around the other day. It's hard to see, but I guess my angle is not wide enough. I have the Pro 200 here now. I'm working on the 2880 back there, slowly soaking it and hopefully get that printhead going. Um, Let me close this. If you watch my little update video that I did a few days ago, uh, I did have an issue with my ears. Normally, as you know, I wear hearing aids, but I kept noticing that my left ear was oozing some sort of wetness. And I thought, oh boy, that's not good. So my wife is seeing an ENT here locally at our MedStar facility in Olney, right near where Nathan lives. And so I quickly called and made an appointment where they were able to squeeze me in 2 days later. And turns out that apparently I have some sort of eczema condition. And so I have so much dried skin inside my ear canal that then the ear reacts by generating wax, of course. And I had a huge plug here. I could not hear anything. You could yell and I wouldn't be able to hear. I could feel stuff. If I did this, I could feel something moving around. So lucky they have this miraculous little suction machine. I would love to have seen it. I love gruesome procedures. Um, I'm one of those that I say, "Oh, don't sedate me. I want to experience everything." Yeah, all the discomfort. So, unlike my daughter, yeah, no, she needs to be knocked out. But anyway, I believe it sprays and then applies suction, and out came this plug. And it was like all of a sudden, boom, I can hear it, everything. And so, right now, I'm not even wearing my hearing aids, they're just charging upstairs. Um, So yeah, everything's fine. I had the other one cleaned as well. I have medications to take, eardrops and a cream and so forth. So every night I will put the eardrops on and give it a little squeeze like that and let it go inside the canal. And that is supposed to help me. They're supposed to be prescription um, agents, a cream as well as the drops. So it's doing really well. I don't have the itching that I used to have. Just a few days later, it's magical. So the reason I'm moving things around is because, of course, my Pro 1000, and I need to get that fixed. Um, yeah, it just needs a print hit. The problem is, as you know, Canon has the notion that a user should never be allowed to exchange a printhead. So when you get a B200 error and it doesn't go away, the printhead is locked. That's what happened with the Pro 10. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later as well, because gosh, you just have no clue what I just discovered as I am cleaning my area in the back, going to boxes and things that I have accumulated through the years. Actually, this one is not quite even a year. But anyway, so Since I do have two print heads, one that I purchased and one that my friend from Wisconsin provided me because Canon replaced his printer and sent him a new print head. And then he didn't use it because they gave him an 1100. So I got this two Pro 1000 print heads. So I don't have to worry about that. So what I need to do is come up with a method of unlocking that printhead assembly. Now I remember just the other day, and I've been busy this week, so I haven't really had the time to come down and devote. I want to set up a camera and I want to record everything I attempt to do. So Nathan was here visiting with us. It had been overnight with the plug removed from my Pro 1000. I plugged it back in, pressed the power button, and it started doing a cleaning cycle. It started doing the agitation cycle as well as the cleaning cycle. And I thought, oh, everything is solved. And as soon as it finished doing that, B204 error. But here's the thing. If I'm going to try that again, and if this happens, what occurs when a Pro 1000 is doing, normally it would be a pre-print cleaning cycle. I call it the flight check, the pre-flight check. For a cleaning cycle to take place, now normally when the printer is off, the print head has moved to the right, it sits on top of that perch pad. There's a gasket, seals right against the bottom of the print head. This is the nozzle plate, two zones, 5 each, 5 channels each. It seals itself there, but it also locks itself in place. So in order for a cleaning cycle to take place, it would have to, while it is locked in place or sitting on top of the perch pad, suction is applied. That soaks the upper portion of the perch pad with ink. The printhead has to detach itself and move slightly to the left to clear the perch pad so that then suction can be applied by the pump, and then the ink is drained into the, in this case, the MC20 cartridge, the wasting cartridge. In a Pro 10, for instance, it would be the so-called internal waste ink pads. My Pro 10 did not do what the Pro 1000 did the last time I checked. It did not attempt to do a cleaning cycle. Yeah, it did do it. So I am hoping and praying that when this week, after we get a couple things done, I'm going to have a free day. I'm going to go ahead and set up the camera, and I'm going to start walking through all the possible steps to unlock that printer without having to disassemble the side panel and all of that stuff, just to get to a gear that will unlock it. So I am going to plug it back up. I'm going to press the power button, and if it begins to do a cleaning cycle, I'm going to pull the plug, and hopefully the printhead will be detached. As soon as I hear the noise, that means the printhead has detached itself, has moved to the side, a little bit to the side, and allow the pump to suck out the collected ink from the printhead. Okay. Keep your fingers crossed for me. Okay. Wish me luck. Hopefully, if that happens, then I can pull the plug, obviously, move the printhead to the left and unlock it. I hope it lets me unlock it. The Pro 1 does not let you unlock it unless you go through a procedure. Now, news about that. You saw me the other day, last week, extracting some ink from Pro 1 or PG29 cartridges. And the reason I was doing that is because I am currently using my older of the two Pro 1s that I have. And so far it's working. So I printed a couple of prints the other day and they were fine. Beautiful. I actually did. And we're going to check that today as well. printed a couple of charts on, believe it or not, A Sub. This is A Sub company is a sublimation paper company, but they also make photo papers. Okay. If you go to my app and go to the Amazon page, you will be able to find it. It is absolutely awesome paper. It's luster, yes, and glossy. Okay. Nothing fancy, but it is fantastic and lower cost than just about any other matching style paper you might find, including, unfortunately, Red River. So I recommend you check that. Just go to my app, you know where it is in my video descriptions, and then go ahead and go to Amazon and look for A Sub Gloss or A Sub Luster, A dash Sub Gloss or A dash Sub Luster. It's wonderful. When I get done with that, I will have ICC profiles made with the new version of Print Prism, version 240. Yeah, it just doesn't end, does it? So I have a procedure how to remove the printhead. Now, my secondary one that has a B200 error right now, the printhead, when I was able to use it through a weird, I wouldn't call it an error, but it was a thing. When you do a nozzle check, instead of having, because that printer just uses a band type nozzle check, you just see a solid band across. That solid band is made up of lines of dots from each of the nozzles. They are lined up vertically. So it just forms this band across like a Pro 100. Okay. So the print was complete, but the upper half, like 50%, was just a little lighter than the lower half. Really weird. That did not affect the quality of the photos you were printing. The prints came out beautiful. Unfortunately, I let it sit for several months, and of course, B200 error. So I do have a procedure how to unlock that printhead, and it requires buttons to be pressed at a certain time and certain order. There is no such thing for the Pro 1000, but for the Pro 1 there is. And guess what I found on eBay? A printhead, brand new, in the original wrapper. Came from an open box. I don't know why they, did that. But anyway, a lot of people back in the day were actually selling the printer and without a printhead, and then you had to, and they would get more money for that. So that combination. So I was able to get it. It wasn't that ridiculous expensive. Some of them were ridiculous. But the one that I got was at a good price, and the person that I got it from, I actually recognize who it is. And so I'm confident that when it gets here, possibly Monday, tomorrow, I will be able to then remove that printhead. I want to remove the printhead currently installed, clean the contacts, whatever I need to do, and then reinstall it. It will then ask for a cleaning cycle, obviously, but I want to see what the nozzle check will look like. If I can get it back to normal. And often what happens, if it is not, because the printhead is absolutely damaged due to overheating, that's what throws that 204 error. It should be able to be used because the printer wasn't that old to begin with when it was given to me. It was rather young with very, very little use. It was just neglected. So that's where we are at as far as those two printers. So now, so I don't have to constantly go to the back and such. I moved the 200 right next to the 8550, right across from it. It just looks dark and you can't see it. Going to be using that a lot more often now. So, and eventually at that point, I'm going to install the other set of cartridges that Rick Johnson gave me with the printer. Very generous of him. And I'm going to go through the process right here on camera of basically disabling chips as they become able to be disabled. there is a process you go through. You cannot just disable them just because you want to. They have to be at a certain point. They have to be empty, declare empty, and then the printer will ask you, hey, what do you want to do now? And you press the button for 5 seconds or whatever it is, and it disables that chip. But you have to wait until it reaches that point. So that set of cartridges is refilled to be installed. And so that, like, I'm wondering what the heck can I actually continue talking about? Well, that's going to be one of the things, because a Pro 200 is still relatively new out there when it comes to dye ink printers from Canon, 13-inch capacity printers. So I think it would be a good idea, especially since Precision Colors has a really good ink set for it. So why not use it? I'm using right now Precision Colors inks on it. And yeah, the results are amazing. Amazing. So we're going to print out a couple of charts from the A-Sub, luster, and gloss on the Pro 200. And then we're going to create those two profiles as well. Okay, I'll have to let them dry, and maybe at the end of the afternoon, however long we stay, it should be dry enough for me to then scan them and not have to worry about it didn't evaporate enough. In other words, dye inks go through a degassing process where you don't know it, you don't see it happening, but gases from the liquid that's embedded in that porous coating evaporate. And it does, well, some people say it actually changes color. Well, I don't think your eyes will be able to detect it, but the system that I'm going to be using to create that profile definitely will. And so I want to have the best condition possible. Okay, enough yapping. Let's go ahead and say hello. We have 29 people. Join us in the chat. Okay, tell us who you are, where you're watching from, what are you printing with, what equipment you consider important in your printing adventure, your successes, your failures. Share all of that with us. When you give a success, we all cheer, and we are very happy for you. If you have a problem, we all get together, get our heads together, and try to solve that for you. Because just like me, when I started years and years ago, I didn't know what I was doing, especially with digital printing. I was a darkroom guy. So I did color, I did transparent, I did everything in the darkroom, everything you could imagine. And when I got to digital, I was a total dummy. I didn't know anything. Unfortunately, so was the majority of other people at that time. Nobody really knew what to do. So now that we know, the best thing that I can do is to share what I have experienced, tell you about my mistakes, and there were many, diagnosing problems. I can't even say that word. And so on. I see that all the time where people ask a question about an issue and there's like 7 answers and none of them have to do with the actual problem. They're being told to do this, do that, and it's just, I hear my tires making noise. Check your gas tank cap. No, it has nothing to do with that. So, that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to put out there and help people with. And the less issues that you have, the happier you will be, especially this day and age where everybody goes digital and on a screen, or on a phone, or on a tablet. No, we're going to do prints here, my friends. We are going to do prints. None of that viewing your images on a little screen. We don't believe in that. All right. Now, let me go ahead and remove the little part where I can hear better. And let's say hello to those who are here in the chat. Go ahead and join us, please. It's very easy. Just join the chat and just tell us who you are, where you're watching from. First one today was at 10:16 a.m. Richard Bender, Hagerstown, Maryland. I've been printing on Kodak paper that has been sitting in my closet for more than 25 years. Very long drying time, but the results are quite good. So that is back in the day, 25 years ago, let's go back, that would be 2001. What did I have back then? A very simple printer. In fact, I think it used one of these cartridges, and I always keep this one for remembrance reasons. The cartridge had a built-in printhead on it. See that little metallic copper-looking strip right there? That has a set of nozzles for yellow, magenta, cyan, and then you had another cartridge for black. So things were very simple back then. Very dotty looking prints. Lots, you can see the dots, the ink droplets. But yeah, it was amazing for us to see that happening. So that particular paper, because of the inability of the inks, which were all dye based, to not fade, they created this. It was a what there was a term for it, a semi-soluble, something like that, coating. It was gelatin based. So when droplets of ink landed on it, it would sort of melt that little area, tiny microscopic area, and the dye would enter into that semi-liquid form of that coating. And once your print is done, as Richard has said here, it comes out looking wet. But it didn't spread, okay? It didn't wick away and form a big blob. So, like printing on blotter paper, you could imagine what that would look like. So you had to basically very gently put them on a, I used to put them on a table and just let them dry for as long as it takes. Um, my house right now, with the air conditioning system that I recently had installed, is the ambient humidity is like 38%, maybe a little bit too dry. My printers may not be so happy any longer, but that's the way it is. So the drier your air, the quicker that print would dry. But sometimes it would take 2 to 3 days, especially on a humid day if you don't have a good AC. So, but other than that, it would then encapsulate that ink. And guess what cannot enter? Ozone. So those inks back then were very, very easily faded or oxidized by ozone from our air. So depending on your environment, an industrial area would probably have more than if you live in the suburbs of Maryland. Okay, um, yeah. Some things in your home produce ozone. Refrigerators. My old refrigerator. If I put a print on my refrigerator door, within a few months you'll notice it's fading. Whereas if I put it someplace else in the house, it's fine for years. Yeah. So that's good. And he made a profile with that, by the way. Yeah, Kodak picture paper. Wow, yes. What a name, huh? It won't replace Red River Metallic anytime soon, but having fun playing with it. Yeah, I have a lot of HP 4x6. And yeah, it's strange. It comes out almost like it has a 3D, because the wetter the area, the higher the swelling is. So you see this, it's like a terrain map, okay? And eventually it dries and settles down. But you can spray that later with a protectant spray, and that will even out that surface if you still have that kind of paper. Okay, TPD 605, Ron K, Trenton, New Jersey, EcoTank 8550, QMH Ultimate Lifetime, Canon R5, Mark II, and a Canon D7, dyslexia, Canon 7D Mark I. Smash those like buttons and share this channel. Please, yes, do so. And for those of you who are in the Facebook group, I beg you, and I appreciate it. You always like the video that I share on my Facebook group. Please If you want to like it, fine, but please like it also in the YouTube page itself. Okay, as you are watching the video, please click the like button there and leave a comment. They absolutely love that, and by they I mean the algorithm, the computers, the robots. They love it, and then they expose your channel more to a larger group of people. You get more exposure that way. So I do appreciate that you like it on Facebook, but it does nothing. It makes my ego feel a little better, but it does nothing for YouTube. Okay, as far as YouTube is concerned. Hello, Captain Donzi. Listen, I need your address. Send me your address to either jtoolman 1949 Gmail, and I gotta send you some things. Okay, I found. Oh, you're gonna love this. Okay, all right. So I'll send you also the. I got those other cartridges here. I just haven't done it. Busy, busy, busy. I really apologize, but I think I already have your address. I'll have to look. Um, as I look back there, I keep finding more and more stuff, and I go like, okay, I don't have this printer any longer. What am I going to do with all this stuff? I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to just give it away to people. So, yeah, it's quicker that way. All right, Harold Davies is here, La Crosse, Wisconsin, 8550 Canon Pro 1100 PCSE ink image print prism, cool 94 degrees and humid, but the wildfire smoke has been. Oh, good. It's much better. Great. It was here. It was actually interesting because it would have made a really great photograph had I been up in like Pennsylvania and Gettysburg and taken a sunset shot with that red sun. Yeah, it would have been amazing. I was in a parking lot at the time when I saw that the other day. Not a good place for a photograph. Welcome back, my friend. And by the way, I did find that print hit for the Pro One, so this is going to be fun. Harold will enjoy hearing from me and my success with that and the Pro 1000, hopefully. And I will be covering everything on video. Pete Grobel is here, 1100 OEM inks, Moab Slick Rock 260. That's the weight, Pearl 8.2 size. BMW World. We wish all the best for you, Rodriguez. You must be Portuguese because you spell it with an S. Well, thank you. I don't know how to say gracias in Portuguese. Fred Bird is here, Ellington, Connecticut. 3 Nikon cameras, Epson P700 printer, working area commercial, legal, commercial photography, and all photographic restoration. 2 O's. Henry Stoffel is here from cool North Conway, New Hampshire this weekend. You're out of your neighborhood. Wow, that is actually beautiful there. Canon 6D2, Epson SCP-800, OEM inks, print prism 240, and QImage Ultimate Lifetime, of course. We're going to talk about print prism next. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the good wishes. I hope it works. On my Pro 200, the same guy here, this guy. On my Pro 100, sorry, been 12 months without printing, always plugged in. Press the button and error. Turns off and back on. Settle. Open the ink flap. The print head moved to the center and unplugged. Okay, yeah, but mine is not moving at all. What happens with the certain, and I've never had that problem with the Pro 100. I have been able, or 900. The 900 that I had, or 900 Mark II, again, easy to exchange the print head, no problem. And I don't think the Pro 100 did throw an error on me, and it went to the center, no problem. It's the Pro 10 that just locks itself, and as well as the Pro 1000. Probably the 200 does that as well. Just at this point, I think it's going to give me many years of service. The Pro 100 lasted me 14 years without even a warning about my internal ink pads. And I can tell you why I got away with that. Okay. Because I refilled. Isn't that weird? They tell you not to refill. You'll kill your printer. Let me finish here because that's a good subject I'm going to cover. And you guys will enjoy this. All right. Bob Powell 377, Ashland, Oregon. Welcome. I don't think you've been here before, but welcome. I'm glad you came. Pro 100 PC inks. Thanks for your guidance. My printer's about 9 years old. There you go. See, it is currently occasionally indicating B200 error. Yeah, I mean, it might be time. It might be time for a new printhead. And I believe that they are compatible with the B200 printheads. So those are still available. Just, get one now, just in case. You might have to replace the printhead. The only negative thing about these Pro 100s, Pro 200s is the internal waste ink pads. Okay. They have to be taken to a shop to have them replaced. And it costs you several $100 to do that. And it may not be a worthwhile thing to do. Okay. You never know. Other mechanical issues may arise after 9, 10, in my case, 14 years. My printhead assembly, the readers, the chip readers were bad. And so I just opened up another box and took out a new one. I have another one left, one more left. So yeah, close the flap, plug the printer back on, press the on button. Amazing printer. I can't believe it's printing like before. Yeah, just be aware that eventually it's going to get you. Enjoy it while you can. Print a lot with it. The more you print, the more life you'll get out of it. Okay. It's amazing. It's a lack of printing. Printing doesn't really harm it. Okay. It doesn't decrease the life of the printhead. On getting clogged and running cycles, those are the things that harm a printhead in the Canon side of things. All right. The manual says an error requiring you to contact the service center has occurred. Yeah, I can make it work after lots of tries. Is it almost dead? Would you buy an Epson to replace it? Well, that's up to you. That's up to you. What is there to replace it from Epson? 8550. Excellent. Excellent printer. I use it every week. Steve Excel from London, UK. Epson P800. Refillable cards, OEM inks, and Studio Spectre. I want Studio Spectre photometer, QImage, Photoshop, Nikon Z7 II, and an Epson V500. All right, welcome again. Now let's talk about with a printer like the Pro 100, 200. Does the 300 have internal waste ink pads? I think it might, just like the Pro 10. So all of those printers, the ones that do not have a user replaceable cartridge, they will die a lot sooner. In fact, many times sooner, shocking, right? Than if you refill. That is using OEM cartridges. You may ask yourself, what the hell are you talking about, Jose? Joe, Cheo, my 3 names. Well, they have a habit. Let's just do OEM here. They have a habit of performing, and I'll do this. That's a nice word to say. Performing a purge cycle. It's a mini cleaning. The reason being, guess what happened to that printhead? It detached itself. When it's down, it is sealed. When it's up, it is not. And it's not printing. Okay? And it's moving to the center. Oh boy. That nozzle plate, this baby right here, is floating over the air. Air gets in. The ink retracts back into the cartridges. Yeah. Hang on. Because my player wasn't playing all of a sudden. That's why. We'll do one at the end. We'll test it just before we leave. Okay. In fact, if you want to stay till the end, I'll play both of them. Both of the ones that I had uh, planning on playing for you. All right. So air gets in. Now you're doing one horrible thing. You are removing that yellow cartridge because it was declared empty. You saw it. It says empty. So you remove it. Oh boy. Okay. Let's believe I don't have anything here. I'm going to use a pen. Let's believe this is a straw or a capillary tube. That would be even better. You can submerge it in water and it gets full of liquid. And then I put my finger on the upper end. I take it out and nothing drips out of it. When I remove my finger, the water dribbles out. Guess what you just did? You removed that yellow cartridge. Ink dribbles out. You put a new one in. Guess what got in through where? See those little white circles? Those are the ports, inlet ports. Through that inlet port that you removed, that you now exposed to air. And there's nothing underneath keeping the ink from flowing out. The straw trick. Okay. You remove the cartridge, it's like removing your finger, and now the water just dribbles out of the straw. So when you put a yellow cartridge in, now it is sealed. You close the lid, the printer goes to the right. It has to purge that air out. But guess what? It cannot just isolate the yellow one. It has to do all 8, whether it needed it or not. And of course, it doesn't really need it per se. Well, yeah, you move the printer to the center. Sorry. But it will run that. And so here's the catch. After you've been printing for a while, and so you have 8 colors, when you begin out of the box, all of them are the same height, the same level of ink internally. As you print, maybe your prints require a lot of yellow. Maybe your prints require a lot of cyan and other colors. They start being used at highly different rates. So they start looking like this, the levels. And so one yellow was empty, you replaced it, you put a new one in, that one is full, but now the one that was almost empty or at low, once it runs that purge cycle, guess what you just did? You probably emptied it doing that purge cycle, depending how much was left in it. Might as well take it out and replace that one now. You had no idea that was going to happen. You just ran 2 purge cycles. You have 6 more cartridges to do the same routine with. Oh, 3 days later, you've been printing a lot, and 3 days later, that one, magenta now needs to be replaced. You replace the magenta, all 8 cartridges lose ink. Why not do this? Why not start refilling? You got a Pro 100. You go to Rick Johnson's page on eBay. The link is on my app. Okay. And you order 2 sets of refurbished, completely refurbished for refilling, and flushed. They are spanky white. You refill both sets. You take out your OEM ones, whether they have ink on them or not. Okay. And just put them away. Put them to sleep somewhere. And install that set of full and reset, refurbished. They're CLI 42 cartridges, so they are the real deal. And then you begin printing with that. Remember, you still have another set sitting around. They have clips on them like this right here. They come with that. So you print, and one of the colors is almost about to reach low, not empty, low, but not quite. You still don't see the low warning, but you see the levels is pretty close to low. Get the other set ready, take out all 8, and you might go like, what? Why are you taking out all 8? Because you're going to replace it with a full set of 8. Guess how long it took you to allow one of those cartridges to reach almost low? Probably a month to 2 months. Then you replace it with a completely filled and reset set. Everything's back up to full. There's no more of this seesaw, different levels. I call it the domino effect. You remove one, you replace it, you close the lid, it runs a purge cycle. Oh, shoot, you got to remove this one now because it's almost, yeah. So you will be running one purge cycle, and depending how much you print, it might be every month or 2 months. Okay. That is a lot better than every few days. So mathematically speaking, if you have 8 cartridges, you are going to run eight purge cycles in a given period with the same set of 8 and another one sitting on the side waiting. You will run one purge cycle in the same period. Guess what happens to those internal pads? They receive 1/8 of the amount of waste ink that would normally be generated if you did not exchange the complete set. How can you afford to do that? Only when you refill. There's no way in hell you're going to do that with OEM cartridges. Of course not. Of course not. So you have to, you want your printer to last 8 times longer, you have to go ahead and refill. Canon doesn't tell you that. So if the Canon printer was going to last you 3 years, and now it's going to last you 15. Of course, that's not assuming that the print head is not going to die on you. Canon print heads, they wear out. Okay, they do not last forever. They wear out. They have to be replaced. That's why they are user replaceable, although they don't make it very easy sometimes. But you can have them replaced at a shop if you have to end up doing so. But that is the reason. So the theory that if I refill, my printer will last 8-10 times longer is true. Of course it's true. I just explained to you why. Okay. Because every time you close the lid, it runs a purge cycle. Not just on the yellow one you replace, but all 8, all 10. Okay. So keep that in mind. I refill every time if I don't print after 1 week. That's not necessary. Okay. You don't really have to do that. I still stick to my original suggestion to have a spare set ready and just wait until one is almost low. Okay. That way you can just replace. At that point, yes, you used up 90% of your ink in that one cartridge. You remove it. And the reason to do it before and beyond low warning. So I want you to look at this OEM cartridge. This is OEM. It has not been, converted to refilling at all. Notice I have ink here. When it reaches about another maybe 1/8 of an inch lower than that, it's going to almost begin to throw that low warning. You're going to see that level almost to the point where at that point, there's a prism underneath here. If it gets exposed to air, right now it's submerged under ink. If it gets exposed to air, it will throw a warning. That's almost too late. I would go ahead, even at this level, remove all 8, replace them with full ones. Okay. Everything pops up to full levels now. No more, if I replace this one, then I'll have to replace that one next, even a few days from now, because it'll be low. It was not low, but now it's low because of the purge cycle that it had to perform. So I would just This one can go a little bit lower than that, then I would just replace everything. But it has to be not OEM ink. Okay, you'll go broke if you try to do that. Okay, sure it'll work, but you will go broke. I promise you. So only if you are refilling. So refilling in this case is actually a positive. I would love to discuss this with these engineers and make them go, yeah, you're right, Joe. But don't tell anybody. Yeah. So your printer will last a lot longer if you refill, only if you follow my practice. Okay. A lot of people refill and still exchange one cartridge at a time. No, don't do that. Don't do that. All eight, all 10 if you have a Pro 10. Okay. Speaking of the Pro 10, so my Pro 10 through an error, I could not, for the life of me, unlock that printhead. People say you have to take the right side apart and manually unlock it. I have lots of Pro 10 cartridges. Um, Anybody needs them? Let me know. In my, I'll go ahead and I'll post my email here. If you live near me and you got a Pro 10, come visit me. Let me know. We'll set up a time. I don't want to sell them. Now I have some that I would sell, but at a much lower price. My very, very good friend generously gave me a bunch of new unopened cartridges. And shortly after that, my printer died. And finding a new Pro 10, it's almost impossible. And I would have to spend hundreds of dollars to get it. And it's just, I would be more happy to sell these at a fifth of the cost that you would normally have to pay. Someone else can use the inks, and I can then buy some paper, right? That makes a lot of sense. No, it does. No, don't get me wrong, it does. The way that it will do the same thing on an Epson printer, but that's, you have to, not just any Epson printer. If the Epson printer has an internal waste ink cartridge, then forget about it. You don't have to worry about that. If the Epson printer has internal non-moving cartridges or tanks, no, you don't have to worry about that. There's no purge cycles. The only time there's purge cycles, and who now has a printer from Epson that, well, I do, but mine has an internal waste ink tank, the 4200. If you have cartridges that ride on the printhead, and it's like maybe like a 1400 or artisan 1440, 1450, I think. Yeah, those have internal waste ink pads, but you can actually really easily remove the side panel and reroute those two little tubes that dump ink into your internal pads at the basement of your printer into a bottle, and you can collect that waste ink that way. That's what I do. And then you can use inkchip.net software to reset the counters. So really, there's no need. I don't really worry too much about developing waste ink with an Epson printer. But if I have, say, a 1400 that happens to be working fine, then yeah, the same thing. Two sets of refillable cartridges, one full and one almost goes empty. I remove one, or one of them goes empty, remove all six, pop them back in and refill and reset all of those six cartridges. The same thing. It's just that it's not really that necessary to do. It's not that you should not do it or you don't need to do it, but yeah. The advantages is not as much as what you get from a Canon printer that would literally die, you know, 8 times sooner. Or when it comes to a 200, I mean a 300 or a Pro 10, 10 times sooner actually. Okay, keep that in mind. All right, so 240 is here. Oh my gosh! So here's what Mike told me. Let me see if I could find that. It's on my Facebook. Hang on. Now there's good news and slightly less good news. So the idea of continuing improvements, well, you can only go so far. So here is the latest that I heard from Mike Cheney. Let me go back because we chatted a lot here on Messenger. That's weird. I cannot find his new messages, but basically it comes down to this. At this point, he has reached the max that he thinks. Squeezing another drop of quality, it won't make any difference, and it'll take just too much work. So guess what happens now? So he's going to take a break from Print Prism 240. I think that's going to be at this point the end of the improvement curve. He's going to get together with his buddy, the QMH1 guy, and they're going to create Print Prism 240 for Apple. Can I hear the cheers? Come on, I can hear now. Yeah, I hope you guys are cheering. I know there's a few of you here that are Apple users. I know that one of the guys from Europe, I think maybe from France and England, are Apple users. And so that will become available. And imagine, and here's the thing. So if you were lucky like me to have already one of these babies here, you had open road to be able to create profiles because that scanner is one of the many scanners that are calibrated for Print Prism use. So if you have a Pro 1100, you don't have a scanner, you may want to consider buying one of the couple. I think there's a couple of standalone scanners that are already calibrated, have been calibrated for Print Prism, and they'll run you like $70. So I think basically what it is a standalone version of basically the generic scanners that they introduce in pretty much every um, the all in one type printers from Epson. Okay, so that'll set you back $70 or so, and then Print Prism I think is 45 or something like that. I don't know what they're going to charge for the Apple version. I think at the beginning it's going to probably have a slightly lower price. At this point, I don't know when this will become an actual item for sale, but it's going to be worked on. Right now, Mike is just disconnecting himself from Print Prism for Windows and begin to work along with his partner from Apple with the coding, of course, to create an Apple version. And it's going to have, I think it will have the same interface, and I think it will have the same levels. That's what he told me. So that's what's coming down the pike. So if you don't hear any more updates, although you can never tell with Mike, the only thing that I would suspect would be added is maybe some other some features or things like that. And I cannot at this point even think what could be added. I would love to be able to convert. Um, you can open up image. That means all of the scans that you created, they're kept in a folder, and you can open up and you get a list of all your image scans, all your image, yeah, scans, and you can pick one and then redo the profile, overwrite the previous one so that it then contains the improvements of the new 240 version as opposed to say 200. Okay. Say you made some with 200 a month ago and within 4 weeks he's already at 240. You see what I mean? So you may want to go back and redo all of them. And that's what I've been doing. And we can do a couple of those here live as well. Is Epson better than Canon regarding what? No, not really. There's really no big quality differences as far as now mechanically. I don't know. Um, if you treat a printer well and you use it regularly like you should, I'm the worst. Okay, the reason I have those problems back there is from lack of use. My 3800, 3880, those are wonderful 17-inch printers. It's not that they're dead, they cannot print black. That means my switch valve for black, either matte black or photo black, they're both fried. And they, no matter how many times I do the switch from glossy black to matte black, back to glossy black, back to matte, and I do an also check, I get all the other 7 colors perfectly, but I do not print black. So yeah, you could replace the whole ink delivery system one of these days. One of these days, I would have to be super bored. Wish I knew a printer mechanic here in the area. They could do this for me. They would, knowing them, they would probably just ask me out, take them out to dinner or something. So, and I would have to learn from them how to do that because it could happen again. My P800, I better switch inks. Okay, I better switch inks because it could happen. They did improve it, but is not absolutely guaranteed that if you neglect it, it's just going to cease to work. Okay, that's why a P900, if you're going to go 17-inch, yeah, get a P900. If you want to be able, if you want to use Epson only, get a P900 and you won't have that issue any longer. You have 10 channels, 10 inks. Pro 1000, 12 channels, 12 cartridges. 1100, the same thing. You're not sharing anything. Okay. So you're not going to ever have such issues, strange issues. All right. So let's go ahead and open up good old Print Prism here. Let me see if I can get this to fit. Last week I had a hard time. Okay, can you see this? Yes, I can see the bottom. Great. So let's proceed to scan the first one. And by the way, did you see the one that I did for sublimation? I know this blows my Chinese mind. Be able to do this. Okay, let us go ahead and we're going to do the A sub luster. And you know what? While we are doing this, I know what I need to do. Hang on one second. Right here. I am going to do, I really like the glossy from A sub. See the sheet right here? I'm going to go ahead and cut me a piece. Because I want to be able to create a profile with that paper on the Pro 200. So 8.5 by 11. And then this is a big sheet. This will be 13 by 10.5. 13 by 10.5. A weird size, but we'll go ahead and use that. So here it is. Let me go ahead and pop it in here. Okay. We will first do the printing of that chart. So how do we proceed? Print target. We'll look for the Pro 100 right here. And we'll go to the properties. We will pick get out of custom and pick letter size, high quality. And this is going to be a glossy paper. And I want to use the highest quality, Platinum N, because that paper is about the same quality as Canon's Platinum. Okay, so that's it, Platinum N. We don't want black and white photo print. We want color intensity. This is going to be sent to none, I hope. And there it is, none. And okay, let's check, make sure everything is correct. We're working on color, photo printing. Got to put it on photo printing. And then here. And then none. And then high. All right, now we're correct. Photo printing, color, system is set to none, and Platinum N, high quality, and good to go. Oh. All right, letter size. I think that's it. And there you go. Now it's sized correctly, and we'll go ahead and print. And then we'll let it dry. It's kind of nice and warm down here right now. Oh, it's offline, it says. Oh, gosh. Did I not plug it in? I do have a USB cord. Hang on. Hang on, you all. Okay. No, it is plugged in. Let me go ahead and plug it into one of my extra plugs here. We'll remove the SSD drive and we'll plug this in here. Because I'm using a USB bank. So, oh, I know why. Stupid me. It's off. I remember I just moved it. Yeah, it's off. So now it should be back on. And let's see. Gee, I wonder if it's going to do anything. So it's coming, it's on, and it's saying that the printer may have been turned off the wrong way. And so, all right, we're good. We're good to go. Select the paper, home. All right, and it's showing all of the cartridges as disabled. So let's try this one more time. Print. Okay. Printer is offline still. Why? Cancel printing. All right. I did print something on it last night. That's weird. That's really strange. Let me see. Let me look on my control panel. Let me click on the, yeah, it is offline. Remove that. Let me try the other original USB port it was plugged onto. Make sure that I got the right cable. Yeah, that's it. Here we go. Let's see. That's weird. I'm not getting the little ding dong sound that I normally would get. Oh, well, always something wrong. Anyway, let me double check again. Yeah. Here we go. Okay. So we're on now. Canon Pro 200. All right. Oh, did I? Oh, what an idiot I am. I'm trying to print it to the 100. And yes, it is offline. Of course. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Let me go ahead and set this back up. We went. Yeah, the Pro 100 is unhooked right now. And standard, do that first and then do no borderless. Here, none, the platinum, high, and geez, 4 by. Okay, I think that's everything, and we are good. All right, print. There you go. It's a Pro 100 that I unhooked. I actually have it set for, I think, Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's printing. Now, the Pro 100 is sitting right over here behind the 8550. So that's going to begin to print. We'll wait for it to do that. Yeah, it was late last night. I was moving things out here. So I'm also going to show you. I have, oh boy, lots of these. People kept sending me their empties, or so they thought. They were not empty. This tip is special. You buy them this way. I used to get them from England. And then I, with my little micro table saw, I would cut a little slot. It's got a little slot right here on the tip, a little cross slot. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe against my dark shirt. There you go. That allows ink to be coming in from the sides. It pushes in the poppet valve and doesn't seal itself on the poppet valve, so ink can actually enter. You pop it in and you suck the ink out of the bag. So we're going to be harvesting ink. Here is some third-party yellow ink for Epson printers. Let's just say all of your trichrome family of Epson printers. It will work on the 2880, will work on the 3800, 3880, P800. Yeah, all of those printers. Okay. This here is OEM. That's third party. It looks about the same. Yeah. So chromatically speaking, yeah, it looks the same. So we're going to extract because I cannot reuse these. There was a way back in time where you can modify these, but they were very, very unreliable. I did it for quite a while, and then I had a catastrophe take place inside my printer, a hemorrhage, and of course it had to be magenta, so it looked like a crime scene. Okay, so we're gonna extract the ink. I'll show you how to do that. This will work for like even these types of cartridges here. Do these have any ink in them? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll go ahead and try to extract some ink out of it. We'll see what we can get out of that. And every little bit helps, of course, you guys. So I am trying to increase my OEM amount of ink that I can then use on my refillable P800. Okay, so here is the result. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Now I'm going to go ahead and where's my marker? Right here, and call it Pro 200. Pro 200 A sub gloss. And this is with PC inks. Okay. It's a little bit tacky right now. I'll leave it here. This is not on, but it's going to dry. Maybe in about an hour we can go ahead and scan it. Let's stop doing this and we'll proceed with the scan that I already loaded. The print that I loaded on the scanner, that is. So we are done. And now we're going to go ahead and do our scanning. So we look at this, we look at this. This is a scanner I'm going to use, 8550. I'm going to write down the name of what I want that profile to have, and I cannot see that. So I'm going to move it over here for now. So the one that I just did that I overrode was from the PP 170. Wow. Amazing. So this will be called Pro 200. This is A sub gloss. And I'll show you that in a second here. And PC inks. So there it is. Okay. And so if you're curious as to what the name of the image will be, there it is. Pro 200 A sub gloss PC, and the profile Pro 200 A sub gloss. Okay. So let's go ahead and scan. Well, you can do the scanning down here as well, but you can just scan up here. I always get confused. This is just my old age. So scan is the next step down from print. This down here is for what I've been doing, manually redoing all of my previous scans and then recreating all of the profiles again. So don't do what I did. This is the manual workflow. Just go one down. The reason is I can barely see what this monitor is showing. It's sharper on your end, but you know, the real view here is horrific. So scan target, create profile. Okay, let's do it. So it's going to proceed. It is flashing. Let me show you that. And it's going to incorporate all of the improvements that that new version incorporates. It's going to create the best possible profile. Out of all the other ones that I have done, this is going to be the best one. Well, I've done some of the other ones already with this system, but you know what I'm getting at. All right. The first one is cooling down, and I have it set for 20-second cooldown, 5 scans. And it's like in Photoshop or other softwares that allow you to do uh, blending of multiple images, such as you would do for HDR photography. Hang on, I got a cable stuck under my chair here. There we go. It is in Photoshop, you would create 5 images. One would be normal exposure, maybe a full f-stop high, and 2 f-stops high, 1 f-stop below, and 2 f-stops below normal exposure. Stack them on top of each other and blend them. When we're doing that, we're just doing 5 identical scans, stacking them on top of each other and blending them. Okay, you would think, well, they're the same. Well, no. Any little errors here and there, this is a mechanical process we're running through right now. So by having the multiple scans, stacking them and blending them together as one, will create the most accurate scan you can possibly imagine. It's simple. That's the reason. All right. Thank you. Back. Okay, scanning number 4. All right, I just realized I made a huge mistake. I named it to the one that I just printed. This is going to be the Pro 1. So I'm just going to go ahead and create it again with the Pro 1 name, and then I'll just delete the other one. So I'm just going to change this to Pro 1. And I'm not going to do it. I am not going to create that. Okay. It's going to start, but I'm going to cancel. So let's just do it again. Pro 1 this time. And make sure that the name has changed. Yep, Pro 1. A sub gloss. And scan target. I got ahead of myself and I should have waited, because this is going to, the same thing. It's the same chart. It's just named correctly. And profiles are weird. You cannot really rename a profile manually like you normally would do a file. It'll maintain that same name for some reason, even though officially you see it being renamed. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. You have to actually create it. And whoa, what does that mean? And by the way, hang on one second. Hang on one second, sir. Yeah. I also need your address. I got some stuff for you. So just, you have my email. Just send me your address. I found all kinds of things that you can use. And yeah. All right. So can anyone here, and this is something that, especially for you, you right here, you right there, especially for you, I have a bunch of empty Pro 10 cartridges. They're ready to be, they cannot really be flushed very easily unless you have a little tricky little device like what my friend let me see if I can find it. This, you would need something like this to get away with it. You would attach that to your, and then use water, flush it in, suck it out, empty, rinse your syringe, flush in, suck out. You could flush cartridges that way, but you would need something like this. I could just send you this. I got a lot of empties. You could sell those. Yeah, they're no, don't, no. Yeah, these don't drill these. Okay, this you can use forever. Okay, the cartridge just, you just clip it on, squeeze water in like 10 ml, and then hold it upside down and pull it out, or right side up and pull it out. They have an internal ink bag, so you just want to flush them, and that will get any kind of crusty junk on the port that you might want to loosen up again. So, for instance, like right here, so you would take this, remove that. This has ink in it, so I cannot use it. Put this on it, suck whatever's inside out, drain it, add, wash new syringe with clean water, squeeze it in, shake, suck it back out, wash again. It's just, several times until you get a nice clean result. And then you just suck all the water out of it. The bag will collapse, and then you put a clip on it. I should have them with clips on them already. So that will give you a complete set of flushed Pro 10 cartridges. Trust me, no one out there offers sets of flushed cartridges. Now, yeah, there might be some ink still in them. That's why you have to flush them. You really don't really have to flush them. But what happens if often when people were sending me these, they would not have a clip. And so that port will be bone dry and crusty. So the normal procedure for refilling is to just hold it upside down and dribble ink on it. You put that cartridge on a scale that you steer it out, so it's reading 0, and you add enough ink until it reaches 32, 31 and a half grams or something like that. And so that's the trick. But ink just doesn't go in if that port is completely dried out and crusty. So flushing cleans it out and makes it super easy for people to then refill later. I'll pack it all up and just send you everything, and that'll generate something. Um, I don't want to do it. Okay, I could do it. I have an eBay account. I don't want to do it. You give it. You do it. You're the man. You're the man that does this and does it very well. So I'll send it all to you. Now, I also have unused, brand new Pro 10 cartridges that I can sell. Um, what is the price for a Pro 10 cartridge? God, I know that an ink set for the Pro 100 or the Pro 200 at our local computer center is almost $140. So what does a, a Pro 200, Pro 300, or Pro 10 full 10 cartridge sets sell for? What's the price for that? Let me see if I can do an Amazon search, because I could sell those locally. And so PGI 72, is it? Yeah. Okay, so the set of 10 colors, $134, $135. That's what they sell for. I have several sets, full sets, maybe 3 or 4. I got to look again. So, but what does this mean? Jewels and eagle. What does that mean? I can fly? Gee, I hope. That would be cool. All right. Well, thank you. So yeah, send me your address. I'll get this out to you this week. Now this should have been done by itself, and I think it did. So let's go ahead and do the next one. So let's take this one out. This is going to be the luster, a sub luster. So all I have to do is change the name from gloss to luster. God, let me put it over here a second here. Luster. Okay. Enter. And now, yep. The other 2 areas change automatically. Now it says luster, and it says luster here as well. All right, scan target. So what I am going to do, I'm going to load some of the same paper on my Pro 1. Let's do 13 by 19. Wow. Okay, let's try that. All right, I loaded the paper. We'll let this finish, and then I'm going to use Q image, and we're going to find a good image here, and we'll print it. So let me put this in a safe place so I can then send you this. And you can easily make these. You can make these very easily. This is like I don't know, like a 20 gauge. It could be larger. I cut it with a little Dremel saw, a little disc. Cut it to about 1/8 of an inch long. Drilled a hole right through the rubber gasket. Stuck it in there, and I used I think I used gel cyanoacrylate with a little activator. This is really strong, and that's it. Now you can then plug this into your cartridge and use it to flush or whatever you wish to do. You can actually use it to load ink as well. The way to do that is to suck all the way out and collapse that bag, and then I would have loaded like 13 ml into a 20 ml syringe of ink, attach it to this that's clipped onto the cartridge, suck back a little bit to collapse the bag. You'll see bubbles, and then inject the ink in there. Okay, and don't inject all of it, just the last little bit. Leave it in the syringe, remove that, put it on a scale, and then dribble ink until you reach or until the sponge begins to look wet. Okay, So 32 grams. Sometimes it differs up and down a little bit. So, okay, it says you're unable to scan. Oh, okay. Did I put it on upside down? Maybe. No, I didn't. It's telling me that it wasn't able to do something. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that and scan again. I mean, it's got a new name and everything, so it should not be attempting to scan it over the previous one. We'll let that finish. Okay. Now, it told me I had jewels to sell. A monetization feature that allows viewers to purchase a virtual digital currency in bundles and send an animated interactive on-screen gift to creators during live streams. So then what do you do with it? Send, not sell. Okay. Well, I appreciate it, whatever it is. I'd never heard of that. Wow. Okay. All right. So we did the update on the Pro 1000. So that is really hopefully going to pan out. I do have actually two of them sitting around and waiting to be used. And I have about, let's see, how many do I have? Yep, I will look that up. I have about 700 ml cartridges of 7 important colors, but I have to find on eBay. You can find them sometimes being sold by people. I need to find a black one, a photo black, and a matte black. The gray, I have plenty of gray ink, and I could use. Basically, what I'm doing is updating my Pro One with pre 1100 inks. The only thing I need to use on the Pro One is gray. That's just they have 3 gray inks: dark gray, gray, and light gray. So I may have to get that through Precision Colors, and they'll provide me with that. I'm quite sure. Let that finish over there. What else has been going on? So these are the only few you can see PBK and MBK. So one is photo, one is matte. There's a little bit of ink in those. So I'll be able to extract that. And then I have 2 little bottles right here that I'm going to be putting the ink in them. And if I can refill one cartridge with that ink that I harvest, that's enough for me. That's plenty. I just don't seem to have, well, black and matte black are very quickly used up. So I have very little of it. Okay, what the heck is going on here? Based on your preliminary target readings, the target may have rotated or the corner markers misaligned. What? Is the rotation? Okay, jeez. That can be. The other one got recognized immediately. So let me do this off camera a second here. So detect corners. Let's see if we can do that by itself. And it says no. Okay, fine. Be like that. What happened to the scan? Here we go. Wow. It's way off. Yeah. Okay, so let me just show you what you do in this case. So notice how off the selectors are. So what you do is you take this and you locate it by hand right there. See what the little yellow corner is, and then just click on it and wait, okay? And say, yeah, it's still not. Oh, wow, what the heck is going on here? Whoa, now it's doing double. Let's see if I can get a triple. Oh, you know what? This is like, why is this? Okay, I'm closing this. It's acting like it's vertical. Okay, that's not right. And it definitely is not vertical. Let's try that again. I'm going to reopen it. That's weird because the previous one worked. The previous one worked without a hitch. And we're going to be printing with that as soon as I get done with this. I think it was user error. I think I had that wasn't centered correctly. So let me make sure that I got the correct, okay, luster and scan. Let's see what happens then. So over there in the corner, I have a stack that high of empty but never used Epson large format cartridges. And that's how I got my ink. That's how I got my OEM ink. By doing that, I was getting these cartridges for like $20, $25. These are like 300 ml cartridges. And I was extracting ink for my, at that time, my 3800, my 2880, my 3880 as well, my R3000, all of those Epson printers. I was getting ink, OEM ink, super cheap, and then just extracting the ink and using that ink to refill my cartridges. So on my two 3800, 3880, I was running refillable cartridges. Now, back in the day, you had to have an OEM chip underneath the so-called controller chip, just like these here. These have an OEM chip underneath, okay, for whatever color that was. I don't know what it is now, but this is a typical refillable cartridge for the 3800 series. Original ones, they look more like this. So this is full of matte black ink. I should be able to pull that out and use it. I don't think the chip is any good, but maybe, I don't know. So anyway, actually I can use that on the P800. So what happens is that the OEM ink that's sitting underneath, let me make sure this is done. No, it's telling the printer, hey, I am magenta, but disregard me only for the color identification and read what the upper chip says. That's the one that determines ink levels. That's the one that resets itself automatically. So when it reaches empty, of course, you top off your cartridge so that it never really is empty. When the chip reaches empty, then you're good to go. Okay. You remove it, pop it back in, and it resets itself. But you needed to have OEM chips available. So, yeah. Okay. Sounds good to me. This is way beyond me. I've never heard of this. Okay, this time it worked. So I had it. I had the the print was crooked. So now it's working, and it should be creating the profile. Let's make sure that is. Yep, look at that. It's perfect. So that was my fault. Okay, there we go. We have a progress bar here. So once that is done, I'm going to shut this down, and I'm going to load QImage Ultimate. I'm going to find an image and go ahead and create a profile for it. Not create a profile for it. Use the profile we created for the ASUP gloss. On the Pro 1, I want to see what the Pro 1 can do on a large 13 by 19. To me, that's important because, yeah, I spent a couple $100 on that print head, and I want to get the other one running. If I cannot get rid of that weird error, let's just say that I can remove it, clean it, pop it back in, and all of a sudden everything is okay, and I run a nozzle check, and because that weird 50% lighter and so forth is an electronic problem. It's a contact problem. So usually that you solve that by cleaning the contacts, making sure the printhead assembly's contacts are also clean, and so forth. So if I can get that printhead to continue working, I have my extra one just in case. I'll have two working Pro ones. Yeah, they compared to the Pro 1100 or the Pro 1000, they're ink hogs. They do go through ink quite often, so I would have to rely on Precision Colors to provide some chips for me and just refill with what I have available, and maybe use the Pro 1000 ink that I can get in 700 ml cartridges. Assuming the Pro 1000, project goes down the tubes, I'll have two backup printers that are as good, if not almost as good. All right, so that's almost done processing. We're almost done down here. So what I have next, we're going to harvest a little bit of ink, and I already talked about this, so we can take that off. Actually, we can remove this, and maybe not today, but next week we'll check into the U.S. Library of Congress photo collection. How about that? So I'm going to be printing some stuff on the Pro one. Let me save that. This should be done. It is indeed. All right, let's go ahead and open up QImage. Here we go. Now, what do we have here? Let me see. I want to do something colorful. Now, this is a neat little. First of all, let's do this properly here. Now, stop, Joe. Go to your printer first. Choose the Pro one. There's an order to this. Then do the paper size, 13 by 19. And I want to have half-inch border, so 0.5. And now we can go ahead and load that image. Now, is this cropped? Actually, no, is it not? It is not cropped. So I'm going to check its sharpness. Looking good over here. Exposure. I'll just show you what I'm doing here in a second here. So let's go ahead and add 2 radius and 125. Maybe a tiny bit brightness. And we'll crank up the saturation a little bit. And that looks good to me. I'm going to pop this over there so you can see what I just did. So I did the exposure adjustment. Is rehashing. I did the exposure adjustment. It's just a one-click deal. Radius of 2, 125. Increase the brightness tiny bit. Contrast I left alone. And 5 saturation. All right, now we're going to go ahead and this is for photo paper luster. That's not what we want. Let me slide it over so I can see this little tool right here. I just made this profile, so it should be at the very bottom. And there is the gloss, a sub gloss Pro 1. Relative, black point. Okay. Let that baby load. And the results should tell us how good that profile turned out. I have a lot of different colors. I don't have a red per se. Little Red Riding Hood over here should have been a better one for that. Or maybe this one here. Maybe we'll do one more and we'll do this other one here. So this would be a good for an office, 13 by 19, put on a frame and a shot of an in your hallway in an office going over to the doctor's office. You know, that would be a good one. Oh, did I press print? Dummy. I did not. There we go. Waiting for no reason here. All right, so let that load. I'm going to get the other sheet and get it ready. Okay, so we will do 2 of them. Now I did these last week. This is a different paper, and they are absolutely gorgeous. This was this was on Epson paper. I'm getting lots of weird reflections here. That's adding color where no color exists. We don't want to do that. So this is my famous bunch of gnarly roots and branches. It's a good one for black and white because it has a complete tone range. And I'm able to see my camera cannot. This is getting blown out by my camera, but in real life, I see a full range of tones. This is almost, I don't like to pat myself in the back, but this is like Ansel Adams quality as far as tonality range. And then here we have, this is Richard Bender's. Okay. Yellow, green, and red. And what else he's got going on here? It's quite amazing. But look at the results. Look at the level of I don't know. Just amazing. All right, so that's gonna begin to print. While it is doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and load the other one. So I want to show you this. So I am showing that my light gray is getting close to me needing to replace it. I have enough there. I got full magenta, full photo cyan. I'm good matte black. I'm good at gray, PC. Yellow is good. Red is like halfway. Magenta, photo magenta halfway. Chrome optimizer is full, and so forth. So this is a Pro 1. This is 10 channels. Okay. So the only advantage that the Pro 1000 and the Pro 1100 is the blue ink. And what they did was they eliminated one of the grays and added blue. So we have, I'm sorry, 12 channels. So they took out one of the, I think the gray, and added the blue ink. So what the Pro 1000 has is so-called gray and photo gray. I don't know what chromatically that means, okay? But if I am going to continue using the Pro 1, I'm going to have to order the 3 actual black inks from Precision Colors. Thank you. Okay, so now this one is done. I'm going to load this other one and see if I really want to, do I really want to print this? Well, why not? Or should I do this? Look at that. Now, see, that would be, wow. That's AI generated. Let me see what else we got here. Here's another abstract. This is not a good subject for a glossy paper, though. Here we go. Now we're talking. Let's see, which is a more colorful one? That one. And I think that's more rectangular. Maybe it is. Maybe, no, it is not. So let's do a double click on this. We'll do a quick. This basically sets your black point and your white point just above black and just below white. All right, so that's all we have to do. Now we're going to sharpen. See, I have impasto here. So I have brush strokes. I want to sharpen those. So I'm going to do 2. And in this case, I'm going to do maybe 150. We'll be able to see right here immediately. So if I click on the 1, we see the effect, okay? So that is pretty sharp. If I reduce this to 1, it'll be less. Now this way of sharpening does not introduce any kind of halo or effects or anything that regular or unsharp mask does, say like in Photoshop or such. So I'm going to get a little crazy here and increase my contrast, not my contrast, my saturation. And maybe now I think the contrast is good. I think that's good. There you go. Wow, that looks amazing. So, and again, the wrong paper, sure. You don't print a oil painting on glossy paper. Who did this one? Is this Richards? I think it might be. I think this is one of Richards, maybe. Not, I don't quite remember. All right, let's see what else we got here. Ah, we have a spaceship. Wow, okay. We got a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff here. That's a good one, but that needs to be on canvas. All right, so we'll just go ahead and send this one. That should be fine. Let me go back and check to see where we are at. And by now, let me see. Yeah, this puppy is ready to be scanned. So let me remove this one. This is the one we originally attempted to do. So this is going to be a sub on the Pro 200. All right, let's check. Yeah, it's gonna take forever. It's going to take forever because it's using like the highest quality possible. So let me open up. I'm just gonna superimpose Print Prism. I just want to get this profile out of the way. It's gonna help me to have a couple of extra for me to mess with. In other words, let me put some of this stuff away. This can go in my picture folder, and we'll move this up. Okay. All right. Okay, so now we just have to change the name. This is going to be the Pro 200. And we're going to print on glossy or scan the glossy. Gloss. And PC inks. Is it? Yes. Scan. Once we get this done, I'm going to go ahead and do a little ink harvesting just to give you guys an idea what that involves. Let me go check again. That's what I remember about the Pro 1. Super slow printer, absolute quality results. I mean, yeah, it had a lot of downfalls. It was, you don't use it for a day, it's going to run a cleaning cycle. You had to like literally print 2 to 3 times every day, okay, at different intervals, and it would just go ahead and print. And it would then use your ink for print production rather than producing waste ink. So, yeah. And because it was a pressurized system, the first time Canon attempted to do so, um, Canon wasn't really ready for that, I don't believe. And this is not coming from me, this is coming from other people as well. So they weren't quite ready yet to do a pressurized system. So the Pro 1000 came out, and they're just using the gravity fed system Canon's been using for years. Now the Pro 10 and the Pro 300, they are a strange pressurized system. They use a spring on a bag. They're not using air. Okay. Okay, so let's get a sheet of paper. Load it up there. Up. Then get another one out of the box. So this is the box of the A sub. Once you see the results, you might become a believer. I hope that's the case because it really is a good paper. All right. He's doing the last pass. And that should be it. Now it's going to do the detection. There it is. That's what we should have seen that last time, but I didn't have it properly set. There we go. We have perfect detection. If it starts to produce a profile, that means it's perfect. I could visualize it. Yep, it's starting to produce a profile. I could go ahead and check myself, and there they are. All the targets have been selected, the little patches, that is. All right. It's doing well. No problems. I can go ahead and come back to me while that is doing all that boring work. By the way, for those of you who may not be fully familiar yet with uh, this particular profile creation software, so you start at the top. I'll just run you very quickly through it. There's a couple of new people here may not have seen this. Print the target. Okay, choose the scanner. Scan the target. Of course, you're going to give it a name right here. Give it a name, and this is the scanner you're going to choose. My 8550. Then you give it a name, and then scan the target. That's it. Once you're done with that, you're going to produce the profile, and it'll do that automatically for you. If you're printing monochrome and you find yourself wondering, wait a minute, my prints don't quite look absolutely neutral, you come down here, you're going to have to create an adjusted profile. So you're going to move this slider. Let's just say it looks a little greenish. So move it over to the green and stop. And then you compare that. Oh, I shouldn't have done that while it was producing the profile. What am I doing? When it is not doing the profile, I'm going to show you this once it is done. It's almost done here. It's going to assume a certain shade, maybe slightly reddish, slightly greenish, whatever. And then you can going to compare under proper lighting what the screen is showing you on that little circle. And you say, well, that greenish tone sort of looks exactly like the greenish tone I'm getting in this gray areas on my print. Just leave it there. It might be set to like right here. Just leave it and then recreate the profile. It's going to tell you, you want to override it. You can choose yes or no. And then that profile will contain that adjustment. You will not see the difference in your color prints, only in your black and whites. If it's a little bit yellow, let's just add a shade. Right now it's done. So let's just add this. It says leave center unless printed grays. So you're going to look at that and you're going to go, oh, that looks about right. Create the profile again, and then you're done. Once you do that, that profile will have that slight correction for you. So you're literally matching the tone that you're getting on your black and white prints, and you will not see that on your color prints. It'll just be a tiny little bit of an off color. It doesn't look quite neutral. It looks a little magenta. Well, then move it toward the magenta and so on. So that way you can pretty much get a globally neutral result from an actual profile. You could, of course, print using black and white mode. On a Canon printer, it's easy. On a Epson printer, it's very easy. It's called advanced black and white. And that will give you also the ability to do a global adjustment. Now they have a shadow boost. You can make a profile with this selected, I'm going to try to create one of those maybe next week, and we'll test it. Maybe I'll do a shadow boost one for the same paper, same Pro one, or the Pro 200 for that matter, and we'll do a shot of that bunch of roots and branches that I love to use because it has such a beautiful complete tonal range. And we'll do a boosted in the shadows and then one normal. Okay. Now this is for perceptual um, rendering intent users. You can have a normally set to low, medium, or high, and that intends that you're going to use perceptual rendering intent. I don't like the way it looks, to be truthful. So I prefer the normal mode. Oh wow, yeah. Well, that's quite an excuse. You are excused, sir. Um, Wonderful. I hope you took some pictures. Hang on. I just started. Finish printing. Okay, let me close this because I think we are done with that. We're going to be printing this one next, right now. But let's take a look at the one we just got done printing on the Pro 1. And I was getting ready to give up on the Pro 1 actually, um, not long ago. I thought, there's no point. I can't find the print head in case I need a print head. So let's just give up on it. Well, no, I changed my mind. Look at this. There's no defects to be found anywhere. Amazing. This is a AI generated, obviously. All right, let's go ahead and load. Let's see. I think I'm printing that on the 200. Yeah, I think so. Let's turn this off. Too much light. Let's go ahead and set this. Oh no, this is being printed on the Pro 1, I believe. Yeah, that's where it's being printed right now. So let's wait a little bit. I want to make sure as it starts to come out that it is this. Should I do a comparison? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Let me see if this is already set for. I think it is. Yes, it's already set. So, Oh, what the heck? Let's do a comparison. So let's make sure. So this is going to be. We need to set this. This is a Pro 1. We're going to go to the Pro 200. We're going to go then to the glossy. Let's see, what's the best glossy paper we have? Platinum. That's what I use for the profile. And then 13 by 19. And then we need a border of 5. And boom. And then we need the profile. We need that awesome profile. So click on that. There it is. Well, wait a minute. Oh, wrong. I pressed the wrong button. Hold on one guy. There we go. That. Okay. I need new glasses, people. Okay, here we go. 200. A sub gloss. And boom. And boom. And boom again. 2 times boom. Okay. All right. So now it's going to load. Oh, you weren't seeing what I was seeing. Sorry about that. All I did was reset everything and then send it to the Pro 200. Yes, I did. I took tons of them, and they have a 2-year-old, and they did finally tie the knot. Great son-in-law. Awesome. 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 Great. See that? And this is what I mean. You guys should share your work. If you have somehow can connect via video, I would absolutely love to have you guys as my guest. Just once every once in a while, just like Mike Cheney does, just like uh, Mike Lee used to do, and even my friend here, that Sir Mighty Moose, he used to come on board as well and tell us what's up. The new guy from Precision Colors, Matt McNamara, has done that. Um, even the guy from Los Angeles that does the 3D printing. I'm terrible with names. Rudy Hallamum. Yeah. If you have access, even on a phone or tablet or laptop, that's a built-in camera. I can send you a link and you can be here with me. And we can chat. We can just talk. We can just share experiences. If you're an old dude like me, I'm going to be 77 this September. You've been around since the film age, okay? So I know what if you've been involved in photography since like early on, you know about film. And you went through the changes I did. And so it would be wonderful to be able to, conduct a. So I did this. What did you do in 1975? Yeah, that sort of thing. All right. So now that's going to print. And let me go quickly check to see what's happening with the Pro 1. Yeah, it's the same image. So that'll be cool. We'll be able to see differences, if any. There should be some. People think that two printers can print identical. No, there would be no need for other models of printers and other ink formulations and number of colors and so forth. This one has 8. That one has 12. Okay. Yeah, profiling or no profiling. There's going to be some emphasis in certain colors. Like the Pro 1000 would just handle this like there's no tomorrow. Whereas my P800 couldn't really produce that kind of blue and purples and all those cyan needing colors. It's very difficult to produce a blue unless you have blue ink. So that's why the P900, P700 introduced that violet ink. They call it violet, but really optical blue is sort of violet looking. What we call blue is cyan. Everybody calls blue is really cyan. Okay, the sky is cyan. Okay, not blue. Blue, optical blue is like purple. All right, so we'll compare the two. Let me make sure I got my little marker here. I'm going to mark the back with a real marker so that we know which is which. While that is printing, let's start sucking some ink out of these cartridges. So let me get this is going to be for Epson, so I want to make sure of that. Here's my other marker. I knew it was there somewhere. All right. So now, this is the one for the PGI 29s. And now, where did I put the other one? I had it earlier. I was showing it to you with the little notch. Gosh, here it is. Okay, so normally what you would do, if you know the empty weight, I sort of do. I know there's ink in these. Okay, so Hold it like this. This is going to enter. That little notch is going to allow ink to flow, even though it's going to normally, it would be basically sealed against the poppet valve and you wouldn't be able to suck anything out. So push it in and pull back. Look at that. So yeah, there's ink in there. Most definitely. This is precious stuff. This is about $10 worth right here. And notice, no mess, at least yet. Yeah, see, the P200 is extremely fast. It's almost done. Okay, that's it. I can no longer suck anything else out. So that is it. That's the end of that. That bag is completely collapsed. So this, I have no use for this. No, I'm going to put it in the recycling. I'm going to take a boatload of stuff over to the local office supply store. Here's another cartridge, and this one, for some reason, is black. So let's go back. And again, it's a pain in the neck to do this, yes, but you get free ink this way because these cartridges are tossed away and they still have 10 ml inside. There you go. That's it. So this one had literally 10 ml inside. So the cartridges declare empty and it still has 10 ml inside. Imagine that. Imagine that. Well, look at that. Even at 75 cents an ml, which is pretty reasonable. That's about the right amount. I got myself $20 worth of ink. And this whole bottle, this is about, I don't know how much. It's valuable. This is a lot of money right here. Right now, this I would take to the back, the laundry area and rinse it out. But that's basically it. So these two can just go into my bag. I'll take this one out of the trash can. I have a big bag with PGI 29 inspector. Okay, the Pro one's not even 3/4, and this is already done. This just finished. I'm going to mark the back. Pro 200 BC inks. And this is A sub gloss and PP 140. Okay, I'm going to wait for the other one to be done. This has to dry because I don't want to smudge all that black ink. Looking really good, by the way. Looks really good. I think this is going to look better than the Pro one simply because it's dye ink on glossy paper. There's no better way to print on glossy paper than just a good dye ink set because the gloss level is going to be out of this world. All right. Not quite done. So I think what it is this is the Pro one actually uses a higher dot resolution. In other words, printer resolution as opposed to pixels per inch is a different thing. Is how many droplets of ink are put down per inch of paper. So you see that resolution sometimes in some drivers. I think this one is higher. It's like maybe on Epson it would be 2880. Okay. So maybe that is why it simply takes longer, or the passes themselves take longer. So once I get the two, I will mark them in the back and we'll post that. Now, the other bit of harvesting would be, you saw me do this before, so basically would be removing ink from the smaller tanks. I'm going to be doing that probably all week, and I'm going to be collecting all the ink that I possibly can. I'll give a call to the local Staples office store and see if according to the website, they say they will take them. So again, and if they give me credit for them, that's fine. I'll be glad to accept that. I could always use, I don't know what. Usually they give you credit for ink purchases, so I don't know what they have available. Maybe they have Pro 100. I don't know. We'll see. Still at it. Yep. I know that the overall gloss is going to look like this. If I look at this in this manner, I see some gloss differential. The darker areas will have a little bit more gloss than the lighter areas. And Gloss Optimizer does what it does, but it's not a perfect solution. On the Pro 1000, though, it's better because the Pro 1 only applies an auto application of Gloss Optimizer. And that is applied wherever there's more ink, it gets more Gloss Optimizer for whatever the reason. So your borders get nothing. Your highlights that are almost pure white get nothing. So you see a gloss differential. On the Pro 1000, you don't see that because you can choose full application. I think the Pro 300, you can also choose full application. Now, if you have a very even tonality, you're not going to see that too much. You're not going to see that problem. But this being the one I just showed you, being kind of a graphic type image, you see it. Okay. This is going to be a little awkward. This is the Pro 1. And so, unlike this one, let me see if I can show you what I mean. Let me tilt it at a bit of an angle. I don't know. Yeah, it looks a lot more even on camera than it does in real life. If I scan this at an angle like that, I can almost see like the striations on this leaf. They almost look 3D because the dark areas have more gloss optimizer than the lighter areas. So you can see that visually. But on the Pro 200 with dye ink, That's not the case. This is the Pro 1 as well. And it looks amazing. Let's see what the Pro 200 looks like. If we get a match of color, I'm going to be ecstatic. We're going to do just the upper sky. So front. Okay, the one in the back is Pro 1. I'm going to have to turn the light on here. The one in the back is the Pro 1. That'll be the part that you see on top. Let me expand this a little bit more. I need like 8 hands here. Okay, so top one is Pro 1. Bottom one is 200. And you can see the gloss, it's just ridiculous. Bottom one, 200, top one is 1. Let me see if I can. So we have a very, very close, almost imperceptible color-wise as far as that's concerned. I would do a black and white and see if they were both neutral. If they are both neutral, then that's it. This is Nirvana, because the Pro 200 with print, with inks from Precision Colors, okay, and the Pro 1, which I'm using OEM and a few third-party colors like the blacks, the grays are all third-party from PC, but the other colors are OEM. Let me see if I can knock out all the reflections. Jeepers. Okay. Can everybody see? The top one is 200. The bottom one is the Pro 1. We got uneven lighting here, so bear with me. So let's do this. This one is Pro 1. Let's look at the blues. Yeah, I can see the depth. Okay, this is pretty clear right here. Although it's not like day and night, but there is a slight differences. But nothing. Oh no, well, okay. Jeez. The more you look at this, the more confusing it gets. Okay, so this is Pro 1. This is Pro 200. Let's look at these orange colors here in the sky. Remember, pigment will always be somewhat slightly duller. It could have the same color. It just doesn't seem to have the brilliancy that you get from dye. So the top one is Pro 1. The bottom one is the Pro 200. So this is where you're seeing the slight differences. Overall, when you look at it just quickly, it looks identical until you start nitpicking. Okay. So if I had to choose, if I want longevity, I go with the Pro 1, obviously. But this one's the winner, the Pro 200. But only because it's dye ink. Look at that. What do you guys think? So I put down PP 140 is 240. 240. All right. Once again. Now, if I was printing on matte paper, if art type paper, then yeah, I would go with the Pro One because I would be able to use, like, if it's a non-glossy, I would be able to use a matte black, and that will increase my depth of my dark tones. Oh, let me load the both. Let me see how I can do this. No, that's let's do it this way. Let's see. Let me back up. I need to back up. About right there like that. Look at it. So yeah. You will always be able to nitpick here and there, this, that, Yeah, but that looks like a match. So as long as I can get a near match to my monitor that comes out as a pleasing looking print. This is the final result, not what I see there. That is my attempt at editing. And sure, I printed, but then I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say, oh, this came out a little bit too light. Then yeah, my monitor's illumination is set too bright, and it forced me to not darken my print or not lighten my print to the correct level. So then the printer just receives it and just translates that information into a print. That's all it is. And it'll either look a little bit brighter than the monitor or a little bit darker. But that's the way prints are. Prints are on paper, they have to be reflected onto, they have to be lit, and the light bounces back to your eyes. This is lit from the back. I go to the mall, and one mall that we go to, they have a lot of big transparencies when you enter through the main entrance. There's a lot of ads. Oh my God, they look so bright and so colorful, beautiful. If they were on print, it would be dull. They would have to be lit, bombarded by light to be able to have the same level of brilliancy. And they don't need it because they're transmitted. You walk in, it's a dark hallway, basically, very low light. And yet those transparencies, they're bright as can be. And then you have these gigantic vertical screens in the middle of, yeah, sure. That's not going to look like that on paper. It's not going to happen. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today. Let me go ahead and I'm going to attempt to play that video. Hang on. So I am going to turn down the volume. I don't know what happened. Let me load my thank you. Any questions? Anyone else? By the way, next week's going to be on Saturday. Saturday. You will see that on the when you look at YouTube and you see that I have an upcoming live stream. It'll be Saturday. It'll be Saturday the 1st. Okay. Be aware of that. My wife has a big meeting once a month, and it's always on Sunday. So she will have to attend, and I will be here waiting for her to get done. And it will, if I stay over there, then I definitely cannot do the live stream. So I'm going to run it on Saturday the 1st, and I will post that on my Facebook group. But I'm leaving you guys with this. Make sure that you're here on Saturday. You take Sunday off. How about that? That'll be my gift to you guys, if that is a gift at all. Okay, so now this is ready to be played. Raise the volume. It'll be my Puerto Rico pictures video. How about that? So let me see if there's anything else in here you guys want to discuss. It's been, we did a good 2.5 hours. That's good. Fred Bird, yes. How are you? Each meeting is a small amount of information to add to the total printing process. Yeah. Every day is different. I mean, you got to think about how we progressed or evolved to where we are today. And I hate to see people become disillusioned to the point where they quit for whatever the reason. Maybe they get mad at one brand or the other for whatever the reason. But the final result, as you can see, is gosh, if you can achieve this, and this is the Pro One again. Let me show you that super duper bright, and it's only because of dye ink. You cannot compete with dye ink when it comes to non-matte papers. So if this was a Burrito paper, say from Red River, one of their maybe um, what's that one I love? Something River, whatever. Anyway, this would work beautifully on a Burrito paper. And by the way, I am about that close to finishing a roll of some kind of luster paper I have on my P800. Once that is done, I'm going to attempt to, and I should do this. Well, I'll have an empty core, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll print using cut paper on my P800 just to keep it happy. But I will go ahead and reverse roll my gorgeous Red River San Gabriel 1.0 that I have a roll of. I think it's 100 feet of it, and so I'm gonna roll it because it was rolled backwards at the plant at the mill, and so I got it for instead of paying like $200 for it, I got it for like 40 something. So I'm gonna re-roll that by hand on that empty core, and then I have to let it sit for at least a month so that it kind of conforms itself to the new curl because it's unprintable right now. And I'm going to then load it into my P800 and we will see. I hope that this presents or gives me an opportunity to enjoy that magnificent paper again. I had a box of cut sheets that I made a bunch of prints for my friend from Wisconsin, Harold Davies, to give also to his partners in crime, the photographers, and they love them. But imagine being able to get something like this, and this is in the Pro 200 with red third-party inks, okay, not OEM, third-party inks. You get yourself a profile, you can almost squeeze the last drop out of those of quality out of those inks and be able to achieve something like that. Again, now consider getting, of course, Print Prism. Um, I will let you guys know as soon as I hear about the Mac version. That's going to open up all kinds of avenues for a lot of you. It's going to be a good thing. It's going to be a great thing. So, all right, this afternoon I'm going to redo a few more of my already pre-existing profiles so that they get that extra little bit of quality that the version 240 has. All right, let me see. Yeah, that's for sure. There's really nothing new. And unfortunately, Epson is blocking us. If you live in North America, you're screwed. He also wants an 8550 817-inch. Of course, doesn't expect that. Do you think there will be? No, why in the world would they provide us with that? Because then I would not buy a P900. Trust me, I would not buy a P900. With a good profile, I can show you, unless you make like, oh my God, you make comparisons. Oh, well, look at this purple. How it looks a little bit insignificant. With a good profile, the results will be almost indiscernible, and that's a problem. And so they're counting on you just using their generic OEM profiles. And so if they give me a 17-inch, call it 9550, whatever. Why in the world would I even consider buying a P900? Well, because I can use a roll with a P900. Yeah, that would be the reason. Other than that, no, I would not. Okay, because I now can print on fine art matte papers and get better results than I do on a die ink printer. But what you don't know is a little secret that Keith Cooper himself told us about. Printing using VFA mode, Velvet Fine Art mode, and that triggers both blacks. You get a little bit of the photo black, and you get matte black on top of that. Your blacks are now incredibly good on matte paper on this little baby right here. And they don't like that. They didn't realize I was going to crop out, and people were going to discover that. So if I am printing on any fine art matte paper, not a burrito semi glossy, paper, but a super duper matte paper, um, I would print my charts using Velvet Fine Art mode, and then print using that mode with the profile I created. Trust me, the results will kick, you know what. And yeah, well, let me compare that. Let me show you my P900 results. And you go like, they go like, oh crap. All right, well, you see this yellow area, you see this blue area, and you're going, okay, are you going to show me something dramatic yet? No, it's just going to be insignificant. So what I locale your idea of a new channel with cleaning. What are you asking me? I'm sorry. I have a headache right now, so I really don't know what you're asking. Um, for printer cleaning fluid. So no, of a new channel with cleaning fluid. I still don't know what you mean. A new printer channel with? Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. Um, wouldn't that be? Yeah, but then here's the catch. This There are ink lines from these tanks to the print head, and they would have to be flushed every time you do that. Yeah. With Chroma Optimizer, like Chroma Optimizer. So you would then, yeah, no, they would have to have a instead of a 6-channel printhead, a 7-channel printhead. There's no way they're going to do that. It's the idea was a little different than what you're suggesting. We were coming up with an idea of a printer with a large cleaning fluid tank that if you had a massive clog, you can then stop using the inks and feed only, but then you would have to link to all the different, every one of those channels with that cleaning fluid. It's very difficult to do. No, they're not going to do that. Believe me, the idea has floated around, and it went downhill. The only way you could do that with your own printer, for instance, is to have a set of refillables with cleaning fluid, and you take out your ink cartridges and you just load the refillables. Um, uh, there was something called PSO Flush. It was pink, and so you would run that through your printer, run nozzle checks, check the colors of the nozzle check to make sure everything was pink. And if that happened, that means all the channels now are clean, and there's only pink solution in there. And it was very effective cleaning solution. And then you would remove that, put your regular ink cartridges in, one cleaning cycle, and then you run a nozzle check. Now you see colors, you're good to go. But having a tank printer with a cleaning fluid tank. No, it's too much. You'd have to somehow divert that cleaning fluid to all the other channels as well from that main tank. No, that would be just like black ink switch valves. That would be 6 black ink switch valves. No, and they all fail anyway. So it's a very difficult thing. So they're never going to really incorporate something like that. Oh, trust me, I'm not saying that's a bad idea. It was discussed and it was shut down. Okay. I think that's going to be it. So I really do appreciate you guys coming in today and hanging with me. 24 right now, still here. Don't forget next Saturday, 12 o'clock, August 1st. No, July 1st. No, August 1st. Gosh, we're August already? Holy cow. Yeah, that's right. I saw a sign for the Montgomery County Fair. Wow, mid August is coming up. I'm thinking about whether I should submit something, but I am not. I'm not like you, Richard. You're a competitor. I am not. I really don't care. So I may not do that. But anyway, I mean, I do have stuff that would probably win something, but it's okay. But anyway, so that'll be it, and we'll see you next Saturday. Dailies will be at 6 o'clock every evening. Those are the backups that I'm uploading. And Saturday, there will be no live stream, like a backup live stream. I will put that on Sunday. So it'll be Sunday, like at 6 in the evening. I'll load one of the backup live streams. I'm almost done with them. So that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoy. Wish me luck with my project with the Pro 1 and the Pro 1000. I could certainly use the luck, the good luck. And we'll see you next time. All right. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And on to the next time. Happy printing, everyone, and bye-bye.